I thought today we could do some reverse engineering, take apart El Pollo Loco, look at the ins and outs of what makes an awesome location for El Pollo Loco. And if we ever come across these kinds of locations in the future, we'll remember back to this exercise of reverse engineering El Pollo Loco and what it takes to make an awesome El Pollo Loco. We could offer these locations to El Pollo Loco and possibly do some deals. So I'm going to start by going to Crexy, one of my favorite websites, and I'm going to put in El Pollo Loco. And on Crexy, you've got all kinds of commercial real estate for sale. And if you put the brand name in there, it depends on the brand, but lots of them have locations for sale on Crexy. And so I put El Pollo Loco in there, and I got one that comes up right away. 37 results. This is like next to El Pollo Loco or El Pollo Loco in the shopping center. Somebody put El Pollo Loco in the description, but it's not an actual El Pollo Loco. So I see one El Pollo Loco and join El Pollo Loco next to El Pollo Loco, stuff like that. So let's look at the one that's for sale. And I like to look at the ones that are for sale because that's where the information is. And we can start our search and our reverse engineering off the ones that are for sale. And if they're selling in the marketplace, it's a better product to go create. So the idea here is I want to create a new El Pollo Loco because I don't have the money to pay for the ones that are up and going. So this El Pollo Loco is in La Punte, California. They're advertising a mountain of traffic going by on the highway, 400,000 cars per day on the 60. So El Pollo Loco looks like they're at the exit right here next to a bunch of cars. They're asking $2.7 million for the property. How do they get to that price? So they've got a NOI, net operating income, or the rent. El Pollo Loco is paying rent of $110,000 a year. And this is a 2,800 square foot building. And these numbers don't usually mean anything to you until you start looking at lots of properties like this, and then you can compare one to the other. How do I compare this one to that one and that one to this one? Then these numbers start making more sense, the more of them you look at. So occupancy 100%. This is a single tenant. So this is just El Pollo Loco in the building. And let's keep learning from there. So there's a 40-year lease term, remaining term 4 years. So they've been in there forever and they're like 36 years or something. And they've still got 4 years left. And then they've got some options like they could say, no, I want to stay for another 5 years, 2 more times. So they got 2 5-year options going on. And they've got rent bumps. It probably says somewhere in here how much the rent goes up over time. But this is an old deal. This was done 35 years ago, and then they bumped the rent up over time, and it's come up to 110. So that's probably not today's market standards of rent, but this is what this deal is, and it's on the market, and we can look at it. We can start here. Starting somewhere is good. So 110. We can look at the offering memorandum these brokers put together. So this is Nogales Street, Rowland Heights, California. So we got 3 main brokers on here, and they're talking about the different good things going on in the area, mainly a bunch of traffic. This looks like a bunch of rooftops. You got homes on one side and industrial buildings on the other, business on the other side. El Pollo Loco's there going for it. Sharp looking building with newer roof, newer colors. This looks like it was rehabbed somewhere along the way. Year built 1990. Lot size. So if we want to build another one someday or find one or figure one out, this is good to know like how much space they're using. So this one, it's 0.7 acres. They're going on a 0.7 acre. This is a 2,800 square foot building. Cap rate 4%. So they're looking for a 4%. If somebody buys it at the asking price, they're getting a 4% yield on this thing over time. So the increases in options lesser of CPI or 15% per option. So the 15% is, wow, the lesser of the two. So consumer price index or 15%. Every 5 years, the rent goes up, CPI or 15%, the lesser of the two. I got 2 5-year options. Every 5 years, the rent should bump up. Lease type, absolute triple net ground lease. Ground lease usually means that the tenant owns the building. And so they probably built this thing 35 years ago or whatever. They're probably working on it. They're doing everything to it. They're probably maintaining it. Absolute triple net means that the tenant's paying for everything, probably the parking lot, the roof, the walls, the plumbing, the electrical, signage, landscaping. They're doing everything and not just paying rent. So they just ship out $110,000 a year in rent paid monthly. So here's the property. This is a backside, or this is a valley, Rowland Heights. So this is part of the greater Los Angeles area. Okay, so there's a property. So Let's learn some more. So this is the only one that was for sale on Crexy. Usually when I take these properties apart, I do them like I got a group of people we work with every Wednesday. I do this in the live calls, but I'm doing this one on my own today. So usually I'm open for questions and we go different ways on questions. But this one is the only one on Crexy, and usually I can look at a half dozen of them or something and get more inferences. So let's look at Street View a little bit. Let's look at this a couple different ways. And then I'd like to look at the brokers here and see if they've sold some other ones recently or in their history or oops, I didn't do that. Let's jump out of that. On to get, yeah, here we go. Get some Street View. So El Pollo Loco, I like to see who the neighbors are. There's a Denny's over here. There's Yang's Braised Chicken Rice. Okay. But there's a Denny's. I know Denny's and some hotels in the background and then mystery restaurant here. And I think it's nice to know who the typical neighbors are on these. This one doesn't have any obvious typical neighbors. I like to look back in time at these things. Here's the El Pollo Loco going different colors. This one's been here forever, so it's not going to tell us what it was in the past. Street View is not going to be old enough to get back that far. You go to the classic El Pollo Loco with a crooked sign if we go back far enough. Okay, so I wanted to look at these brokers. So Peter Del Tondo is one of the main sellers here, and 20 years experience, net lease. He's selling net lease properties. Looks like he's got about $150 million of these kinds of properties listed. He's got 200 million of them sold, and probably a lot more when you look at, that's just the ones he's showing the price on. So let's see if I can get the screen to stop bouncing around. So he's got in the snow, KFC, car wash, Popeyes, Wendy's, Checkers, Burger King. I'm looking for more El Pollo Loco, Chipotle, Wendy's. We can look at these other brands other days. So here's El Pollo. This is the one we're talking about. So generally when they have, these are the ones that are listed. So I searched El Pollo Loco. I'm probably going to not see any there, but the ones that are for sale. So generally when the brokers have sold one or they got one marketed, or they'll sell that same brand again and again. People that have that brand for sale, they'll go find the brokers that sell that brand and have them sell some more of them. So it's usually a treasure for more of these locations. Here's some Taco Bells, just looking at their old sold stuff. And I pulled up their sold by clicking on their name and their profile. So Best Buy, Steak and Shake, Del Taco, Dairy Queen, a bank, more Burger King, Del Taco, Dairy Queen, 7-Eleven, Boston Market, Auto Zones, Dollar Generals, BJ's Restaurant, more BJ's, Boston Market. I bet you there's some more El Pollo Loco in here somewhere. It's a long list, right? See, a lot of these are undisclosed. They're not adding to his number. This does the statistics, 98% average sale to list. It's pretty close. So if the guy's asking for a 4 cap on this thing, he's probably going to trade it like 4 to 10, 4.10 or 4 and a quarter or something like that. The guy probably knows his prices pretty well. Taco Bell, Dairy Queen, Taco Bell, Freddy's. There's going to be some more El Pollo Locos. Sonic, Burger King, Dutch Brothers, Cheddar's, O'Reilly's, Steak and Shake, Taco John's, Dairy Queen's, Jack and the El Pollo Loco. Here we go. Orange, California. So this might be the same dealer, the same people, or the same owners, or someone. I don't know. He got this listing. El Pollo Loco, Orange, California. Okay, so let's look at this one. They're not disclosing the price that they sold this thing for. Absolute triple net. So the previous one was a ground lease. This one's absolute triple net. So you probably own the building on this one, I'm guessing. So if you bought this, you'd own the land and the building. So 20 years term remaining, lease term 20 years. So it probably just got started. You're built 1990, 20,000 square feet lot. So that's just under half an acre, like 0.45 or something like that. The rent goes up 10% every 5 years. This is more normal market kind of terms instead of that previous one talking about CPI and stuff. Asking cap rate 3.5%. Oh boy. So asking NOI. So they had when they sold this, it was 100 and this is 22, December of 22. Right now I'm talking about December of 25 when I'm recording this. And so this is 3 years ago. It was lower interest rates at that time than it is now. Asking NOI $123,000, 3.5 cap. Who's buying that? You buy the thing with a 3.5% yield. It's like an insurance company or something is buying it. There's somebody using insurance company money to buy it. Okay, 2,100 square feet. What was the other one? 22 or 28 or there was in the 2000s. Okay, let's look at Street View and see if this was built in 1990, but it said it was renovated, I think. So going back in time, it's El Pollo Loco, but it looks like it got a facelift here recently. So it went from 23 to 24. It went from old yellow, red to newer white and these colors. Go back as far as I can. Oh, get back to the old crooked sign, El Pollo Loco. So it's been there for a long time and it just renovated as El Pollo Loco. Maybe they extended the lease or renegotiated the lease or something. And then it got a new lease going. So lease option 4 or 5 years. Maybe the landlord said, yeah, we'll give you a facelift if you stick around. And, or maybe the tenant said, we'll do a facelift if we can stick around, and went for it. Maybe we can see what this actually sold for if pull up. So this is Property Radar. I like to use Property Radar a lot. And this is actually, I looked this one up before this call. So I got it pulled up. So here it is. Here's the property. It sold for 3.8 million bucks. And they were asking 3.5 and they sold it for 3.8. That's even better. Okay, so 3,812,500. I wanted to do, let's do the rent divided by that would be, if I could do it, 3.2 cap. So whoever bought this got a 3.2% yield on their money collecting rent out into the future. Yeah, the rents will go up over time and it'll come around over time, but there's probably like just 1031 exchanged into it, or just a place to park money in between bigger deals, and or collecting some depreciation, tax efficient kind of trade for them and stuff. So to me, I don't want to pay for an investment that pays 3.2% kind of yield. This was a couple of years ago. This was April 24 was when it actually closed. So a year and a half ago, but still, it's an amazing number if you're the one creating this stuff and selling it into the market, is my point of view. I don't like the number to be the one buying that stuff, but I'm in a different financial situation than whoever's buying these things. I'm the be the more creative side of creating these things. Okay, so let's look back at, we looked at Street View. We didn't look at the neighbors. So I just like to look at neighbors. Just got some random whoever neighbors here. Jottier looking neighborhood. Got DeVita. Okay, let's look back and see if there's any more. I'm going to leave that one on the screen so we can reference it again, but I'm going to see if there's any more El Pollo Loco in this broker's history. Let's see. So more Wendy's. Oh, here's El Pollo Loco. So now we're at third El Pollo Loco. So we found one listed on the market currently, two that the same broker has sold. So we're going down the pipe here. Peter, this is the same guy. He didn't disclose the price he sold it at. This is Texas. So this is a ground lease, corporate ground lease. And so the tenants are going to own the building and they should be fixing everything, taking care of everything. But the landlord does not get to depreciate the building for tax benefits. The tenant gets to depreciate the building for tax benefits. And so in the lease, it'll say something like the tenant can take off of the building. They can demolish it on their way out. Do they actually? Probably not, but the lease will say they can. And if they disappear someday, you probably still get to keep the building. Okay, so this one's in Fort Worth, Texas. Let's take a look at the terms. So this one, let's see how much was the rent. 163. So the asking price when they sold this, and this is December of 22, which is probably the same timeline as that other one. So if we did a 3.2 cap, that would be pretty flippin' amazing. That would be the 163,350 divided by 0.032. It would be a $5 million asset. But it's that other one, I think, had depreciation. This one doesn't have depreciation. And so they're asking, and it's still 22. And they're asking 3.5 million. So this is like a 4.67 cap. I don't know why the cap rate's so much more on this one when they were asking, but price per square foot, 1,250,000. When is this one built? Does it say when it was built? Year built 2017. So this is a much newer building. That other one was built in 1990 or something, right? Or am I mixing up deals? Let's see, the Orange, California. Does it say when it was renovated in 22? Yeah, it was built in 90. So this one is a much newer building. Seems like it would go for more money, but I don't know. We didn't look at the market from that market to this market. Maybe it's a different market. Remaining term 11 years on here. Okay, so let's look at Street View on this one. See if we learn anything. This is a different coloration for an El Pollo Loco. Okay, so famous fire grilled chicken. So here's our El Pollo Loco. El Pollo Loco. Let's look at more dates. So it was 2007, right? Still El Pollo Loco. Something happened. So it's not El Pollo Loco anymore. Authentic Mexican Grill. That sounds like Chipotle to me. Was it a Chipotle? It's got this sign out front. Freestanding building for sale or lease. 0.63 acres. And brokers. I guess you could call them and ask for the history on it, but I'm not going to do that in this call. El Pollo Loco. Oh, this is 2017. El Pollo Loco. 2018, it's for lease. 2017, it's El Pollo Loco. 2016, oh, this is interesting. Okay, so it got bulldozed. It was dry cleaner. So it was a dry cleaner, dry clean, super center dry clean, 2014, 15, it got bulldozed. So they bulldozed the dry cleaner and they put in El Pollo Loco. And then El Pollo Loco moved out. Something happened. So maybe it was a franchisee or something, and they bounced out and they went out of business and they went away. And then somebody else, it's for lease, somebody else put El Pollo Loco. I was thinking it might have been a Chipotle, but I was wrong. Okay, so somebody built it for El Pollo Loco, and then El Pollo Loco went out of business, went away, and then they got new El Pollo Loco to come in. So maybe it went from one franchisee to another, or from like a franchisee that went out of business to corporate or something. Maybe if we look back at this, we have the, let's see, if corporate guarantee, tenant credit, corporate guarantee. So that's probably what happened. So it probably went from a franchisee that went out of business to corporate took it over and came back and rejigged it and reworked it. And now they're running with it and paying rent. And it's a El Pollo Loco. So somebody probably had some scary times there when El Pollo Loco original moved out and then the new one came in. Maybe they renegotiated better rents and everything. I don't know. Yeah, but still pretty high rent, 163, 350, but they got it with a corporate guarantee. Okay, so let's look at Street View again. Let's see if there's any neighbors. So I learn a lot by Street View. Street View is free. It's free. Everybody can do Street View. You can pull these addresses up, throw them into Street View. I think if you're on Crexy and you're in the paid version, you can click right through into Street View, but if you're not in the paid version, you got to go throw it into another website. So we've got Wells Fargo there. And probably a Whataburger or something. Oh, I was joking, but there is a Whataburger. There's a Firestone Whataburger. We're in Texas. Of course, there's going to be a Whataburger. Let's see what's up the street the other way. Quick car wash, storage, just some retail stuff. But it's not like they're always next to a McDonald's or a Burger King or right next to one of these things. So there's Target up around the corner. There's a bunch of rando strip mall shops. Target, Petco, Staples. And then train tracks on the other side. So nobody's building on that side. What a waste of space. They put the train tracks back a bit. You could have a bunch of shops along the street, but no. Okay, so there's your El Pollo Loco. No real obvious, like, symbiotic neighbors that it goes next to. So let's jump out of there. But they got to deal with corporate by taking an old one. It could have been a Chipotle that went out of business or something else. And they rehab the building into Chipotle, but this one was Chipotle had gone Chipotle. Let's see if there's any more El Pollo Loco in the lineup here from these guys. Wendy's, Steak and Shake, Culver's, Wendy's. So they're selling these types of buildings over and over. Lots of these Culver's, bunch of Culver's, pharmacies, Raising Cane's. There we go. Oh, there's another one. It's the same one. They sell it twice. They might have sold it twice. They might have sold it the first time it was El Pollo Loco, and then they sold it the second time it was El Pollo Loco. They might have got it twice. Different brokers did the leasing in between. Popeyes, Taco John's, Wendy's near Del Taco, Walgreens, Tacos. This guy's list goes on and on. We're getting into older looking pictures and stuff here. So we're getting back in time. It might be getting too old. Oh, hey, El Pollo Loco. Here's another one. That might be the last. That's right at the bottom of his list. He might have started his Crexy career with an El Pollo Loco. Okay, so proposed remodel of location. So they're going to change it into the new colors. 2025? Oh, what the heck? Reported August 7th, 2025. Wonder why that's at the bottom of the list. Maybe it's not in order. So this is Los Angeles, Roscoe Boulevard. So how much is the rent? Remaining term, 20 years. 2,800 square foot. So similar size. Year renovated, 2026. So it's to be renovated. Maybe it's not renovated yet. Maybe they take the money from the new people and renovate it. The new owner's stories. So rent goes up 10% every 5 years. This is a corporate guarantee. Did it say ground lease or two? So they got 2 5-year options and 1 4-year and 11 months option. That's a weird one. So they basically got 3 more options on it. The lot size, square foot, 10,000 square feet. This is a small piece of land that they got this thing on. It must be in a parking lot or something else around it. There's a Walmart in the background. Year built 1979. Okay. Lease term 20 years. Lease expires 46. So you got 20 years on this thing plus some options on top of that. And so they're probably rejigging the deal from old El Pollo Loco to we'll give you the money to facelift the property. You turn it from the old yellow Spanish looking thing to a modern QSR looking thing. This looks like super remodel of the location. Let's look at the, can we get the flyer on this one? See if we can get it. Absolute net lease. So that means we would own the building. Corporate guarantor. The property is secured by a 20-year absolute triple net lease. Long-term occupancy since 1985 on high traffic corridors. So they've been here forever and they want to redo the building and put a new building in basically. Prime position, major shopping center, Greater Los Angeles, high performing panorama city. Okay. Where is it? No, I thought I saw some numbers like how much it was going to cost. So a bunch of population, income is medium America income. Let's look at Street View. So they've been here forever. We're not going to see some old history, but this is a little tiny lot. Look at this. There's a Bank of America. So lots of times they're next to a bank, right? We got the cameraman going through the drive-through. Tiny lot. No room for error. Look at this. Really jammed in there. No parking. See any parking? Where the heck do you park? You got to park back in, okay, they got a little parking in the back. The parking's, they probably don't even own the parking's probably shared with the shopping center or something. You got three or four parking spaces here for the employees. Basically just a drive-through. Do you see a sit down in there? Yeah, there's seats. They got seats, but boy, they don't have any place to park. You gonna park right there? No. Okay, so they're gonna remodel the heck out of that thing. Wonder if we got modern Street View, we'd see like it's being remodeled by now. It's probably too soon to say. December 4th. So this is pre-sale. October 25. Okay, so they're just gonna rehab that. What else is around here? I saw a Walmart in the background. So there's Walmart in the background, really busy area, 3 lanes of traffic going either way. You can cut through the middle. It doesn't have blocking you from driving all over the place. So what were the numbers on this? 3.4 million. Did we see the rent? This was August 25. So this is a recent one. So we get a recent cap number in today's market. So 165. 165. So 165 closing cap rate 4.78. There we go. Okay, so this is a recent El Pollo Loco sold in the market and with remodel by year-end 2026. Top performing location, 2.67 million in reported store sales. Okay, let's look at some of the performance of these shops. Let's compare them to each other. But now we have a recent market transaction. We've got what this brand trades for. So now we've got their credit rating kind of figured out. This one is 165,000 rent. 4.78 cap. And this cap might be a little high because you're buying the old building and then they're going to go rehab and then come spit it out the other side. When you buy this, a bunch of that money probably goes out of title straight to the rehab. And you're basically financing the rehab by buying this thing. So somebody who owned it in the past probably negotiated a rehab, but they're selling it because they don't have the money or don't want to put up the money to do the rehab. They go sell it into the market on the new lease with the new terms and this TI bill that the tenants have to go rehab the property. So they'll go build a new property. Might be $1 million or something to go build a new property, go redo this whole thing ground up into new looking building. And so somebody probably negotiated that. Somebody might have got a contract to buy it, negotiated all this, and then spit it out the other side and kept the difference. Somebody might have got creative in between there. Maybe it was a broker, maybe it was an entrepreneur, maybe it was the old owner. Maybe it was the old owner's friend or consulting attorney or somebody. Somebody figured it out, got it all restructured. Or maybe El Pollo Loco approached the previous owner and negotiated on their own. If you're watching this and there's comments below and you know the story behind this building, feel free to throw them in the comments or let me know if I'm not barking up the right tree. So Butte del Tondo is a broker selling El Pollo Loco. Good job, Peter. Sold this one 4.78 cap. So 4 3/4, let's call it. That's a really good cap rate in today's markets. When a lot of the QSRs are trading like 6 1/4, 6 1/2, or 7 or something like that. This one's going with El Pollo Loco's name. Is this corporate guaranteed? Let's see. Corporate guarantee on it. Got the 4.78. It's not one of the franchisees. Corporate guarantee. Good job. on everybody's account that put this together. Okay, now I would like to, let's go back and look at the different markets that are happening on these locations, because I'm not finding like obvious neighbors that they're always next to this and they're always next to that. These roads are usually really high traffic. There's usually a lot of people in the area. It seems like they like a lot of concentration of people, a lot of people, a lot of people. These aren't like out where the freeway crosses another one and there's an exit and there's some QSRs and nothing else going on kinds of locations. These are like a lot of people, a lot of employees, a lot of constant traffic going to these ones kinds of locations. So now I'm going to pull up some other software that I like is Alpha Maps, and I'm going to start dropping locations in here. So this one that we just looked at, I'm going to go backwards through the ones that we've been looking at because I think I still have them open. Roscoe Boulevard Panorama. Let's jump into this one. See if I can get this location to work. So where's that McDonald's? Or here's El Pollo Loco, not McDonald's, the Walmart. Here's the Walmart. Here's El Pollo Loco. And parking lot all over the place, but they don't really have much of any parking. And let's pull up this El Pollo Loco. I'm going to look at area visits. So this software has cell phone traffic information in there. Cell phone traffic allows me to compare different locations against each other. People carry their phone, they go to these locations, and we can buy the data. So this is one of the ways of buying the data. It's just like they buy data from a bunch of data vendors. And this hasn't been working the last couple of days, but usually you get percentages in here, and I don't know why, but it stopped. There's always different bugs in all these softwares, right? And this one, for whatever reason, is doing it here. So let's look at this brand rank. But usually you can see like how the neighbors are all ranked. It's just not working today. 87th percentile. So this is a really high ranking El Pollo Loco. If we do location visits, let's see what kind of numbers we're talking about. 20 something thousand. So they're in the lower 20,000s. This is August, September of 2025. We've got 22,000 customers estimated went to the shop based on their cell phone traffic. So these same day, these people are going to McDonald's. Same week, they're going to McDonald's. Half of the customers that go to El Pollo Loco go to McDonald's. They go to 7-Eleven. They go to Bank of America, Food for Less, 24-Hour Fitness, Arco, Chevron. They're going for gas. Some of them are going to Walmart. In the same day, they're going to Walmart. In the same day, they're going to In-N-Out Burgers. Maybe they eat lunch at In-N-Out and dinner El Pollo Loco. I don't know. Starbucks are going to Starbucks. 6% of them are going to Starbucks in the same day. Jack in the Box, 5% of them are going to Jack in the Box. Same. These people eat at fast food a lot, kind of customers. Let's look at demographics. 55,000 kind of income in the area. It's a mountain of people. 50,000 people in 1 mile. 300,000 people in 3 miles. So they like highly concentrated areas. Okay, let's look at, so that was the Roscoe one. Let's look at the one that was in Texas, Fort Worth, Texas. Okay, so I'm gonna get the little marker on this one. See where this Texas one is going. So this Texas one is a lower ranked one. Maybe whoever opened the shop there figured it out right out of the gate. This location isn't working and they bounced, but corporate took it over and they're still operating it as a lower ranked one, 17th percentile. So maybe it wasn't the best idea to go reopen that one. Awesome ones in Texas are doing 70,000 and 50,000 and 30,000 customers a day. And if I do that national, awesome locations nationally, the best one is in Utah, 86,000. Victorville, California, 83,000. Probably in Texas, Arizona, Las Vegas, Hudson. There a lot of Texas ones are up there. California, they're doing some pretty awesome numbers. Okay, let's look at, I wanted to look at area and see if the area stuff works on this one. So this is set for a 1/4 mile and it's not working again. Subway, Pizza Hut, Mexican food. So the big visited stuff up here is not any brand names that I totally know. Okay, I'm going to take a pause. Okay, took a little break, recording again. So we also had Chapman. Let's pull up Chapman. So I'm going to throw this into Alpha Maps. Oh, wow. Is that no, okay. So here's El Pollo Loco. So you got a lot more parking in this one. It's a wider lot. Drive through, parking, drive around, shoot, drive in, drive out. Okay, so we got this one. Let's see if area visits. Of course, it's not going to work today. It's not working. So brand rank. Oh, this isn't such a great one either. 35th percentile. Set Utah one's at the top. So 35th percentile. Let's look at demographics. Usually you don't want to idolize the lower third kinds of properties, but I'm just getting a basis for where we're at. So we got a bunch of population. Again, a bunch of population is not a recipe for success, I guess, for the highest awesome locations. But 22,000 population in 1 mile is a lot. 91,000 median income. So we've seen some 50s and now we're seeing 90. They go higher, lower kinds of income. Not low, not low, low. We haven't seen any low, low stuff. Okay. So we looked at Street View. We looked at, I think they all had, if we look at these, so this is a Chapman. Yeah, look at that. 3 lanes of street, 3 lanes going each direction. You can drive through the middle. So that's Chapman. The one in Ohio or Texas, 3 lanes on either side. So lots of traffic. Yes, you can get through the middle. Looks like they're on a corner here. So you can even get out on the side street, I'm guessing. Yeah, so they're on the corner. You can get in out there. You can cross all the way across. So lots of access. And then Roscoe Boulevard. This is, again, 3 lanes of traffic. Those aren't turning lanes. 3 lanes of traffic going one way, 2 lanes going the other way with maybe a turning lane in the middle and no median here. You can drive through. There's 2 turning lanes. So you can drive through the middle without having to drive over the curb or whatever, and cross access into the parking lots in the back to get out of here if you wanted to go over to the Walmart or something. And those are the ones. We didn't look at the original one. Let's go back and look at the original one. Maybe I dropped that off the screen. So how do we get back to the guy here? Okay, so here's the original one. Let's look at the original one. Street View. Let's do Google Maps. Okay, so this was the original one we found. 1, 2, 3 lanes of traffic. What a coincidence. 3 lanes of traffic going either way. This one's got a median. It's got trees, and you don't want to drive across that. This might be cross access in the back here. I think it's going to be Denny's across the street. So here's the mystery restaurant. Probably tastes good, but no credit rating. Yeah, so here's El Pollo Loco. You can drive through the back of this neighbor restaurant to get out to the corner. So you got lots of access. You can get out here. You can go get in the turning lane and go get back onto the freeway without dealing with the median thing. So you could turn in this way. You could turn out that way. You could come through this intersection and get through there to get to El Pollo Loco. So lots of good access. That's good to study. If we want to create one of these things, we want to understand the access. Yeah, they're on the end, but it looks like you can drive in, you can drive out. Another thing this isn't maybe a good example of a really skinny one, but sometimes skinny ones, this is 150, 160, 150 foot lot. Let's get rid of this is going to be a square, right? Basically, no, 200, 150 by 200-ish. Kind of lot. If we go look at them all, I think these are all kind of chunkier lots. None of them were like the 100-foot lots or the 75-foot wide lots or something like that. These are probably 35 or 40 or these little house lots, but you need a good sized lot for these. Oh, that one, the one little skinny one. Let's look at that little skinny one. Is it Chapman? No, Del Tondo. Oh, this will be the smallest one of the pack. You might be like, Luke, why does it matter? Because we're studying land here, guys. We're studying land. We're studying where these shops go. What size properties can they go on? This is a really small piece of property. Look at that, 65-foot property. And so they fit the drive-through on a 65-foot wide lot. And like 1 lane on either side, no place to park. Good luck walking out the door. You're going to get hit by a car driving through the parking lot. Don't want your kids running around. But they still got seating in here, and they got some little bit of parking in the back. Yeah, so let's go back to this. If I change this to the front to the back, was this a 200-foot lot? 150 by 65. That is a really small lot. And they figured out how to get it in here. This is a high dense concentrated area. And I think they're using parking from the neighbors. And so this is extreme case scenario of fitting one in there. I don't think you're going to go do a brand new one and target these kinds of lots, but they fit one in here. So remember that Roscoe one if we need to fit a tight one in. Okay, so there's a whole bunch of locations. What I would like to do is, since we got one of these pulled up in Alpha Maps and we look at the brand rank, so this isn't an awesome one. This is Orange, California, but okay, so I got this set within the United States. And so I'm going to drop a bunch of screens off here, so concentrate down a little bit. Okay, so another thing I like to look at is top locations. What makes a really good El Pollo Loco? Because the best place to do more El Pollo Loco are places that look like they're the best El Pollo Loco. It's my favorite sales pitch when it comes to a piece of land This land has the same statistics or better than your best location in your network of shops. This is where you want to build your next shop, right? Like when you have that kind of sales pitch set up, it's easier to land. Then you might be able to work over here if this and that and all these other problems are solved. I don't want to do that sales pitch. We can, but you don't want to. So the more awesome the land is, the better fit it is for one of these tenants. The better it is, the easier it is to land the sales pitch. The land will sell itself, and that's really what we want here. That's the whole idea. So by reverse engineering what's awesome out there and what's working in the market, we just saw these working in the market. We just looked at ones that traded on the market. We saw what they traded for. And the most recent trade we've seen so far is that 3.76 cap. Let's call it, 4.76 cap. Let's call it, we could underwrite it a 5 cap. I'm guessing if we did our math at a 5 cap, we could probably sell it for a lower cap than that, higher price than that. And that could be amazing. Let's take a look at this best one. So lots of times when I look at the best locations of these brands, they're in a airport or they're in a stadium or they're in some urban something. And the first couple locations don't usually count. So keep that in mind until we get down to something that we could emulate. We could find a vacant building and say, this is your best numbers here, go here. Or we could find some land and we could build your next location, your next best location here. What is the statistics? What's the data? What's the idea of that building or that land, that vacant building, that vacant land? And we could pair that with this brand, and we could make a new El Pollo Loco, and we could go to the same broker that's selling them, that knows how to sell them. And we could say, here's your new El Pollo Loco, go sell this for as much as you can. And he'll probably say, yeah, I just sold one at the 4.76 or something. I could probably sell it to the same people and get your really nice numbers, but I'll go run it in the market, get everybody to bid against each other, get some really good numbers out of it. I've sold El Pollo Loco before. So we already have that salesman. We already have the person that can tell us what these will sell for if we can create it. So we've already got some examples of other ones that have been created in different ways. Now we're looking at ones that are not just sold in the market. So we don't have that price point, but we get the data, the idea, the business. These are awesome location. Let's see what makes them. So this El Pollo Loco is, I'm gonna open this in Google Maps. Okay, so it's right off the freeway. We're in Utah. This is a 15 maybe. What is this? This isn't 15. This is something else. 85. Okay, so Walmart. Okay, so one of the other ones we were looking at had Walmart in the background around the corner. This one's we're right out in front of Walmart. We've got a Starbucks, I'm guessing, across the street. Beans and Brews. Okay, so a different coffee shop right across the street. IHOP next door. What is this one? It's Chick-fil-A or something. Oh, that's all the drive-thrus. I thought it was fast food. I'm thinking fast food. It's a medical emergency center. Tires. What else do we have around here? Kohl's, Burlington, Buffalo Wild Wings, Five Guys, Del Taco, Starbucks. There's the Starbucks. Longhorn Steakhouse. Looks like these guys just built in the parking lot. Chili's Bar and Grill. So there's like action happening. Baseball fields. This is government stuff. Skate park. We're out in front of the Walmart. Raising Cane's down the street. McDonald's, Burger King. So so there's Chick-fil-A. Here's Chick-fil-A on this side. So we've got a couple different chicken shops. We've got Chick-fil-A, we've got Raising Cane's, and just down the street. Let's take a look at their numbers and see what's going on with those guys. Let's take a look at Panda Express is right there, and Walmart. Let's take a look at the Walmart, see what's going on with all these guys. My hypothesis is if El Pollo Loco is doing awesome, these other neighbors are doing awesome too. Let's see if I'm right. So the Walmart 215, this is going to be a nice Walmart. They're not, darn math usually happens automatically, but I'm going to have to click them one by one to get this to work. So Walmart here, 93 percentile Walmart. Okay, so it's a really good high traffic Walmart, 98th percentile in the state, 93 percentile in the nation. It's over 200,000 customers going to this Walmart, 215,000. Claire's Walmart, Chick-fil-A, 48,000 going to the Chick-fil-A. That's going to be a good one, but I don't think it's going to be top of the top pile. So the Chick-fil-A is out in front of this Walmart as well. Let's do brand rank on that. Let's see how much people are going to this Chick-fil-A. 63rd. Yeah, I was thinking it's going to be good, but not like top of the pile. So it's about half on the Chick-fil-A, 42,000. Other ones in Utah get up to 90,000 customers a month, but 42,000 is still going to make some pretty darn good money for the Chick-fil-A. There was a Raising Cane's, there's a Panda Express, like really close. across the street and past the coffee shop, right? So Raising Cane's over here, not Raising, Panda Express. I'm talking Panda Express. We'll get to Raising Cane's next somewhere. 79th percentile Panda Express. So we got a good Panda Express down the street. Del Taco is right there. Let's see what they're doing. Okay, so they're up the street and across. Del Taco, 94th percentile Del Taco. So there's a lot of stuff going on. Get Five Guys is really close. That was just up the street as well. I'll close some of these windows before we crash it out. So Five Guys, 53rd. Okay, they're not all top, but it's mixed. Where's the Raising Cane's? Raising Cane's right here. 48 in the middle of the pile, but they're also in the middle of the block. We got a much better location up front and center. So look at, I got the wrong one. Well, you go back and find the Utah one. Okay, so there's freeway. People, they don't even get on and off here, do they? You can just cross. This isn't an actual exit. Oh, wow. Okay, so up here is the exit, and down here's the exit. We're in the middle, but we're still in front of Walmart. I was thinking this would be an exit, and we'd have people pouring right off around the corner and getting right in here, but they're not. There's actually some dirt next door that's on the front. There's a couple dirt lots in here somebody else should go on. I wonder if those are for sale or available. We could say we're next to El Pollo Loco, one of the best El Pollo Locos. But it's not, these aren't front. Like this is the front. Let's look at the traffic on here. I didn't look at the traffic on the others. I should have looked at the traffic on the others. So we're on the side street. It's 4 and 4 is 8,000, 9,000 on the side. But the front out here, it's like 40,000, 20 and 20. It's like 40,000 out here. So they got some pretty awesome traffic going in front of this Walmart. But Chick-fil-A and Raising Cane's have the same traffic down here. And they're getting middle of the pile and we're getting top of the pile. So for whatever reason, people are loving this El Pollo Loco in this location. And there's other chicken shops around. What I'm going to do, let's take a look at this thing in the maps. It's a sharp looking one, got the flowers popping. So it's full on drive-through location, a bunch of parking, bunch of access. I don't see anything special or amazing about it. It's 2 lanes, or is it 2 lanes? 2 lanes going either direction, but one of them is turned into a turn. So it's one or 2 lanes. Yeah, these neighboring lots are for sale. Look at that. 1.29 acres for lease or build to suit. Mountain West. This one's for sale. 1.9. So there's dirt around here that's available. So now we're talking top El Pollo Loco locations, and you could put new shops next to them. And that might be interesting, but I think the main traffic is up here. I'd rather be out on these corners, like up front and center. Beans and Brew is doing some numbers. AT&T, Cold Stone. El Pollo Loco's kind of hiding in the back, and they're still pulling it off. What's it building here? Something's going up. I don't know. Walmart gas station or something. They're developing. So there's more development happening in the area. So there's learning what kind of neighbors, what kind of areas going on there. Let's look at the brand rank. Let's find number 2. So usually when I look these brands up, they're in a airport or something crazy kind of area. But it's going for, this is Utah. Let's get national. Let's find the second best ranked one. Palmdale, Victorville. So California, 395. And what? Did I look at demographics? Let's look at demographics. So the Utah one, before we jump off of there, is not as many people. 14,000, 94,000. So good income, doesn't need crazy numbers of people. The second best one here, we're in Victorville. Let's look at demographics on that. 8,000 people in 1 mile. This is a lot less people. And this is the second top visited El Pollo Loco, 83,000 median household income. Yeah, this is coming up really hot one. So right around it, let's see what comes up right around it. Walmart, 210,000. That other one had a Walmart 220 or something like that. So a really good Walmart. And McDonald's, 40,000. Burger King, 37,000. Taco Bell, 37,000. Wendy's, 34,000. Arby's, 31. Starbucks, 31. These are going to be really good numbers. There's 30-something thousand kinds of visits. So let's see, the McDonald's, 40-something thousand visitors. 67 rank McDonald's. This Burger King might be higher ranked. Nah, 93 percentile Burger King. Something's going on in that Burger King. Burger King's ranking higher than McDonald's. So McDonald's has higher numbers, but they're almost the same. Taco Bell, this is a lot of Taco Bell. This is going to be a good number for Taco Bell. 87 percentile Taco Bell. I thought it would have been higher than that. Wendy's, 34,000. That's over 1,000 customers a day at this Wendy's. 90th percentile Wendy's. Okay, let's drop these off. So let's look at the location. Oh, come on. Okay, so we're in Victorville. Looks like a Chipotle is just going in next door. McDonald's. You got to drive past McDonald's to get there, but they're in the front and center entrance to this thing, and it's a Walmart. So there we go. It's a Walmart out parcel again. So number one and number two, El Pollo Loco or Walmart out parcels. Walmart out parcel, Walmart in the background. This thing's a lot out in front of Walmart. I'm surprised they're building Chipotle right next to it. Nobody said no Mexican food or no, they didn't get any teeth in there to keep the neighbors from happening, selling similar stuff. Chipotle's different, but still, they compete. I think El Pollo Loco and Chipotle would compete pretty well. I'd go build there if I was Chipotle next to a number two El Pollo Loco. Taco Bell, Wingstop, Wendy's. These are all out in front of Walmart. Across the street, we got Starbucks. What is this? Grocery? Stater Brothers. Del Taco. See what Del Taco's doing. 90th percentile. These fast foods are going really right here. And then you got Burger King. You just got a bunch of dirt. Like, what about the rest of the dirt? Like a development in the middle of the dirt. This is Palmdale and the 395 come together. And wow, you just got desert in multiple different directions. That stuff's usually cheap. And then you've got this development going on, the crossroads. Okay, let's look at Street View on this. I got a bunch of parking, a bunch of access. I got signage right at the main entrance to this thing. 3 lanes going in either direction. This one's got a median. You could probably drive across that if you wanted, but you probably don't want to. You probably go up and turn around. And there's El Pollo Loco. Okay, there's an awesome El Pollo Loco next to a bunch of other good shops. And it's not every single one of them is awesome shooting the lights out, but a bunch of good shops. Mojave River Academy. Okay, so that was number two. Let's look at number three. State University. Might be on campus or something. Let's pull this one up. 99 percentile. Some campus. I think we're on campus. I'm not going to look into this one. This one looks like it's on a something campus. Okay, 76,000. That's probably dirty data. Like we're counting classroom visits and stuff in the same building or whatever. Cafeteria visits. Okay, El Pollo Loco, Platte Avenue, West Hills, California. So let's take a look at this one. Open in Google Maps. So Google Maps, El Pollo Loco recently visited. Is this another Walmart? No. This is Pavilions. There's a grocery store. So an out parcel to a grocery store and just a shopping center. The McDonald's across the street. A mountain of people around here. This looks like really highly concentrated people area. Let's take a look at the demographics of this one. 16,000 people in 1 mile. Probably goes crazy if I go 3 miles. 124,000 in 3 miles. See, a lot of people. Okay, income 132. This is a nice income area. This is the nicest income we've seen in these ones so far. 132 median household income. So a bunch of people, good money flowing through the veins of this area. Let's take a look at the McDonald's across the street. There's a Carl's Jr., but mainly the McDonald's. I want to look at the McDonald's numbers. McDonald's 30,000. It's 1,000 customers a day. It's going to be middle-ish, just over middle. No, just below middle. Okay, 42 percentile. McDonald's. So it's not like shooting the lights out, but El Pollo Loco seems to sing its own song. Okay, let's go back. See what number. There's Humble, Texas. Number 4. There's that number 5. Number 5. 99 percentile. Let's look at it in Google Maps. So Google Maps, El Pollo Loco, Cheddar Scratch Kitchen. What is this one? Golden Corral, Black Bear Diner, Olive Garden. So where's the Walmart? Across the street from Sam's Club's, probably Sam's and a Walmart. That's just a big Sam's. Walmart's over here. So Sam's Club, Kroger, Walmart across the street. And then we're over here. The mall down the street, Chick-fil-A down around the corner, Buffetopia. Okay, so El Pollo Loco. I don't see any like common theme neighbors here. Let's look at I bet you that Walmart's doing 200,000. Black Rock Coffee Bar. There's new coffee going in just down the street. KFC, Slim's Chickens. There's a couple of chicken shops going in down here. KFC and Slim Chickens. I don't know if they're going in, but Slim Chickens probably newer. KFC's probably been there a while. And they're following El Pollo Loco's lead. El Pollo Loco's doing good business there. They can go sell chicken too. Okay, so we're close to the airport. That's what's going on. Let's look at the demographics. 8,000 people in a mile, 58,000 income, 59,000 median household income. So it's not like specific numbers. It's not dead nobody. Let's take a look at Scottsdale. This is going to be higher income. Let's start with the demographics on this one. 93,000 median household income. Okay, so the El Pollo Loco in Scottsdale Let's see what's coming in right around it. Walmart 166. Walmart's not doing as well. Burger King, that's crazy numbers. No way. 152,000. That's something's wrong with that Burger King number. They must be inside of something. So that number's weird. That's too much for Burger King. It's inside the Walmart. Yeah, that's just taking all the Walmart numbers. That's really wrong. Target 70 something thousand. Twin Peaks, McDonald's over 1,000 customers a day. Taco Bell almost 1,000 a day. Wingstop, Einstein, Wendy's, 20. Starbucks. Okay, so it's classic names going on in the area. Pollo Loco is not in front of the Walmart, but Walmarts are down around the corner. It's in the same neighborhood as it. We got the freeway going by. We got the Belt Road going by. Wendy's, El Pollo Loco. So an outlet to the shopping centers, maybe a grocery store, Best Buy, and I don't know what else. Staples, Party City. Okay, so an out parcel to a shopping center, lots of parking, and El Pollo Loco going for it, doing good numbers. El Pollo Loco, West Sky Canyon Park Drive, Las Vegas. Let's take a look at this one. 99 percentile El Pollo Loco. Let's see what's around here. We're like a freeway exit. We got Dutch Brothers, Burger King. These are all less than 1,000 customers a day. Bodies. Okay, let's find demographics. Let's take a look at this. So a bunch of people, almost 20,000 people in a mile, 100,000 median household income. Vegas got some income going on in this area. Let's take a look at where we're at. So grocery store, freeway, there's 11. I was thinking it was going to be 15, but it's 11. Okay, so we're in north back corner of Vegas, northwest corner of Vegas. Houses going on in every direction. So the nicer houses over here, maybe tighter houses over here. McDonald's, Dutch Brothers. So we got Dutch Brothers coffee going on, building something else. Another drive-through. El Pollo Loco's doing well. McDonald's is doing okay. There we go. Seems like the Walmart belongs in here somewhere, but I don't see it. Looks like they're just rolling out houses in every direction. newer neighborhood. El Pollo Loco's doing great. We can keep going all day on these different ones, but I think you get an idea of what they're looking like, what the basic layout of an El Pollo Loco looks like, the kind of land. You can start seeing there's 3 lanes of traffic. Income is 50 something to maybe 100-ish thousand in the 1 mile or 3 mile. Population is like 8,000 plus in the 1 mile. Lots of times it's 12, 15, or 20,000 in the 1 mile kind of population. Really good access. They tend to be in front of a Walmart. I see a lot of them in front of a Walmart or really close to a Walmart. The numbers, if the neighbors, they don't seem to be like statistical freaks where they're all 95 percentile kinds of shops or something. They seem to be mixed. They seem to be more normalized, higher ranking stuff in the area. Definitely not the bottom quartile ones in the area, and a top 5 El Pollo Loco. We're not seeing that, but they seem to swim with other brands that are doing well in the area. They're not always right up front and center to the McDonald's or the Burger King or the Chick-fil-A or the somebody. I didn't see any QSRs that are like the ones that they're always next to and they're always across the street from or they're always right there with. El Pollo Loco seems to be singing their own song a lot more. We didn't look at where these shops are coming from. I should go back and look at if they were conversions or if they're coming from land. I usually do that like we were looking at a lot of the ones in the Crexy listings. Where are they coming from? I usually take more time to look at where they're coming from when I'm reverse engineering the top ones. I should do that, spend more time on that. But I've talked to them and I've seen them. They're converting old shops. They're building new shops. They're doing ground leases. They're doing build to suits. They're doing conversions. They're doing all the above. They're doing the classic moves. They've got the credit rating to do them. They've got enough history. They've got enough operations to just really go for it. This data set I have is a little over 500 locations. So they've got over 500 locations that are operating right now. That's a really good network of locations to go get examples from and learn from and model off of to reverse engineer and go find new locations. It would be nice to look at what states and where these things are coming from and what they're looking for. They do. Let's do that for a second. So I'm going to pull up Retail Lease Track and see if they want me to sign into my phone. No. Okay, so I'm going to do name search, and lots of times they do notes in here of what kind of stuff they're looking for. And so these are like contact people of retail. So this one seems to be, and I've talked to this guy. Spanish for the Crazy Chicken is the name of 3 independent restaurant chains that specialize in Mexican-style grilled chicken. El Pollo Loco is a highly differentiated growth restaurant concept that specializes in fire grilling fresh citrus marinated chicken in front of our guests. If you've ever been to El Pollo Loco, they just serve it up right. Like they're not trying to hide stuff. They show off the restaurant, show off the kitchen. So they're looking for excellent building and signage visibility in retail corridors where there is a concentration of large national retailers. Freestanding minimum 28 parking spaces. We saw an example of one that had 20,000 square foot minimum of land, which is, what's that? Just under half an acre, right? 4.46. So 0.46 acres and up kind of land. They want 24 to 3,200 square foot buildings. We saw a 21, I think. So there's some outside of that range, but if we go look for buildings in the 24 to 3,200 square foot, we could find vacant drive-through buildings that are high visibility with lots of large national retailers around them with drive-through. Yeah. End cap location requires adequate parking nearby. Yeah. So they pretty much want a 2,400 to 3,200 square foot in the upper 2,000s, lower 3,000 square foot of a building with drive-through. And they're saying they want minimum population 25,000 in a 3-mile kind of radius, and average household income 30,000. That's pretty low. 30,000 and up. So basically whatever income. Traffic count, they're looking for 25,000. We should have looked at more traffic as we were looking at these ones. 25,000. So they're looking for higher traffic, which you can see in a lot of these locations are higher traffic. They like higher traffic, not the 10,000 and 8. One of the locations we looked at was like 12,000 or something, but they like the higher traffic locations. Strong daytime population, 10,000 plus. Daytime work population, a 2-mile radius. So they're like a lot of people working in the area. We saw some examples in there like Victorville or something that didn't have a whole lot of work population. The one in Las Vegas didn't look like a whole lot of work population area. It looked like houses, not places to go to work in that part of Vegas. But so there's exceptions, but this is what they're looking for. Brand works well in most demographics, strong performance in general market and Hispanic or mixed trade areas. Okay. And then they talk about different places they're looking for. And so there's a take of El Pollo Loco. We got a whole bunch of different El Pollo Loco shops. Let's go back to the original. So this original one we started looking at was in La Puente, California, and bunch of traffic. It's right up their alley, and what they're doing, what they're making, what they're asking for, and just doing a whole bunch of rent. So if we have vacant buildings that fit that criteria, or vacant land we could put a building on to fit that criteria, we could reach out to El Pollo Loco. They're responsive. They're asking for more. They're looking to grow. And it's just another brand that we could add to the toolbox to figure out more land, more vacant buildings. Okay, so there's our retake. Okay, so there's my take of El Pollo Loco. I'm excited to go find locations for El Pollo Loco. There's lots of ways to find locations, just like that one location we're looking at that had land available next to it. Lots of other properties have land available next to it. And looking at markets with high performing QSRs or similar retail areas like this that don't have El Pollo Loco, which is lots of them, and then finding vacant buildings or vacant land to put the El Pollo Loco in areas that looks like they're expanding, which they've got a whole bunch of areas listed to where they're looking to expand. We could reach out to El Pollo Loco and see if they take us up on it. So I'm excited to work on that. If you have properties that you think fit for El Pollo Loco, I'd love to help you figure them out and see if we can make them work. We've got a free community talking about these kinds of locations on the internet. I'll put a link in the description below to take you back to that free community. We can go back and forth about these kinds of locations. You can direct message me there and try to figure them out and make them happen going forward. If you want me to hold your hand through the deals, you can go further into the paid side of the community from there. But just understanding the basics of what it is you want to sell before you go buy that land or figure that land out, I think could help get us a lot more direct in making these deals happen and making them happen with a lot more cadence, a lot more probability. So Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. It's Luke Smith, ruralvacantland.com. See you in the next one.